Hi guys,
Hi guys,
I'm Flo from 10A number 12.
and I'm Dinda from 10A number 3.
Hello friends, here we're gonna discuss together one of the Islamic kingdoms in Indonesia, namely the Sultanate of Aceh. Are you curious? Keep watching. In the beginning, Sultanate of Aceh Darussalam was a conquered area of the Kingdom of Pedir. At that time, the Darussalam region began to show quite rapid development when Malacca fell to the Portuguese in 1511, which caused Malacca to fall and experience collapse due to Portuguese attacks. Due to this, Muslim traders then moved from Malacca to the Aceh Darussalam Sea Airport to carry out trading activities. This made the Aceh Darussalam region begin to develop rapidly and was able to break away from the Pedir Kingdom in 1520. The first leader, who is also the founder of the Aceh Darussalam Sultanate, was Sultan Ali Mukhayat Shah, who is also known as Sultan Ibrahim. What about the development of the Aceh Sultanate itself? Don't worry, I'm gonna spill it. The Aceh Sultanate experienced a very rapid development during the reign of Sultan Iskandar Muda, where the Aceh Sultanate was able to trade in China, India, Gujarat, the Middle East to Turkey. During the reign of Sultan Iskandar Muda, he was able to suppress European trade. He even managed to break through the Portuguese trade routes from the Strait of Malacca to the Persian Gulf. The Aceh Sultanate developed in these three main aspects, namely the first one is political aspect. The Acehnes style of government is divided into civil government and government based on religion, where the civil government is led by aristocrats, while the religious government is led by ulama. While the second one is economic aspect. After Sultan Ibrahim conquered Pedir, who was rich in white pepper, Aceh became more prosperous with abundant wealth. Aceh was able to build a strong armed force. During the reign of Sultan Iskandar Muda, Aceh obtained pepper and gold from the conquered area so that Aceh became a source of commodity pepper and gold. The last one is social aspect. Aceh's strategic location was a factor causing trade to progress rapidly. People's culture was also advancing because they often interact with foreign languages. There is also a formulation of customary law based on Islamic teachings called the Makuta Alam Customary Law, which contains an explanation of the Sultan of Aceh. At that time, there were three conditions for a person to be appointed as a sultan in Islamic law. While every beginning there is an end to every progress there is a setback, as well as the Aceh Sultanate, which experienced a setback after Sultan Iskandar Muda died in 1636 and was replaced by his son-in-law Iskandar Thani, who was in fact, during his reign, the Aceh Sultanate suffered a setback. He is considered to lack the personality and technical skills in managing the Aceh Sultanate. The oversight of the commanders in charge of trade was relaxed. Areas far from the central government were less loyal to the Sultan, and the presence of an Orthodox Tawasuf expert named Nuruddin Ar-Ranili.
Well, here I'm gonna continue with discuss on with Flo. Here I will expand of the legacy of the Aceh Kingdom, the map of the Aceh Kingdom, and finally the values that we can take from the Aceh Kingdom and its king who have ever dreamed. Evidence on the legacy of the Aceh Kingdom, namely, the first one is a Baitur Rahman Great Mosque. This mosque is one of the most recognizable relics of the time. This mosque was built around 1612 by Sultan Iskandar Muda in the center of Banda Aceh. The second one is Indarpata Fort. This fort is a defensive fort that actually started to be built since the reign of the Lamuri Kingdom, the oldest Hindu kingdom in Aceh, to be built since the 7th century. This fort is located in Ladang village, Great Mosque, Aceh. This fort is also known as a protective fortress from the attack of the Portuguese cannon. The third one is a Taman Sari Kunangan. This park is a legacy of the Acehnas Kingdom in the form of garden with the place building. When in the time of the Aceh Kingdom, the park was proof of the love of the Acehnas Sultan for his place. The fourth one is the tomb of Sultan Iskandar Muda. This tomb is located a community village Baitur Rahman Banda City Aceh. This tomb is very Islamic with beautiful carving and calligraphic carving on the tombstones. The fifth one is Kanan. The Kanan is a relic of the Aceh Sultanate which is located in Arangan district, West Aceh. This object was used at the time to protect Aceh sovereignty from being targeted by colonial ships. The sixth one is the Royal Golden Coin of Aceh. This golden money was a legacy of the Aceh Sultanate which were great follow-up because at the time it the treasure that was very much sought after by many people and become one of the legacy of the Regis Aceh Kingdom at the time. And the last one are the Tiliatur work of the Aceh Sultanate. This third work consisted of Malay saga which describe the marriage of the Sultan of Malacca Masyur Shah to be a Chinese and Javanese princess, and the story of the Portuguese or Piringi attack on Malacca in 1511. The saga of the kings which explain the origin of the Sultanate of Samudra Pasai, and the saga of the Portet which explain about hijab which is written by several scholars. After I explained about the legacy of the Aceh Sultanate, well, here I'm going to continue to explain the map of the Aceh Sultanate map. So, the beginning of the entering the Aceh Sultanate of the entry of Islam was North Aceh and Malacca, then spread to Java, Sumatra, and West Kalimantan. West coast of Sumatra, Padang, and Bengkulu. South, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, and Malacca. Then the Aceh Sultanate spread last in the 16th century and in the 16th century. This influence of the Islam has spread evenly throughout Indonesia. And finally, I'm going to mention the values can be taken from the Aceh Sultanate. Is there anything that we can apply in our daily lives? Let's just go ahead and find out. So, the values that we can take from the Aceh Sultanate are 1. Togetherness between citizens and the king is very close. 2. Having a firm and wise leader. 3. Never give up. From leader and servants works together to achievement mutual prosperity. 5. Respect each other. And last one, 6. Have mutual affection for each other and lastly love the country. Wow, the values are really good. I hope we can apply this in our daily lives.
Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.
Thank you.